A US-based scientist who worked at a research lab in China's Wuhan, the city where the COVID virus first emerged, has said that that COVID was a man-made virus and it leaked from a facility in Wuhan. In his latest book, The Truth About Wuhan, epidemiologist Andrew Huff claimed that the pandemic was caused by the US government's funding of coronavirus in China. He further said, and I quote, "COVID was leaked from Wuhan Institute of Virology, a state-run and funded research facility 2 years ago. Foreign labs did not have the adequate control measures in place for ensuring proper biosafety, biosecurity and risk management, ultimately resulting in the lab leak at Wuhan Institute of Virology." Mr. Sanjeev Srivastav, international affairs expert, joins us on the program. Mr. Srivastav, appreciate you joining us. Mohammad Ali Shah, defense expert, also with us on the program. Mr. Srivastav, let me start by asking you, this is a truth that we have known all along. How is this book lending more credibility to the claims that have been made by most of the nations in the world, more so by India?
Thank you very much, Vineet. And there is a very strong possibility that this virus, the coronavirus, leaked from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And already a lot of question marks are there on that lab. And always the questions remain. And this kind of reports, whenever come up, the debate regarding it again hits up. And again, this Andrew Huff's book has come out, and it will again generate a lot of question. And he has clearly mentioned in his book that this virus leaked from Wuhan Institute of Virology. It is very clear. One thing is quite certain, that China did a lot of careless or maybe a kind of a deliberate strategy. This could have also been as allegations are there on China that it deliberately leaked this virus. But one thing is very clear and certain, and there is no ambiguity about it, that China did not inform the international community about this virus in time. According to the World Health Regulations, if any country is having a kind of a dangerous virus, it is the responsibility of the country to inform the WHO within 24 hours. But China did not inform about this virus for more than 2 months. And it came around, I think in 2019, in the month of October last or maybe November 1st. But China only informed about this virus by the end of December. And that was too late. By the time this virus was, it got spread all over the world. Also, China did not stop their international flights, but they stopped domestic flights from Wuhan to other Chinese cities. But from Wuhan to other international cities, the flights were not stopped. So there is a lot of question that why China did that. Always these kind of allegations are there in China. And obviously, this is also a fact that China put a lot of hindrances before such investigations, which were being conducted by WHO. So I think the question marks remain, and this book will again generate a lot of debate in the international community. And obviously, Mr. Huff has put his own point of view through his book. But I think there is a very strong possibility that this virus leaked from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And China did not care much about, and once this virus leaked, again China attempted to hide this information for a very long time. So I think it's a criminal act which has been done by China, and I think that is why the entire humanity suffered from this pandemic. So I think this kind of this book is again a revelation about the Chinese character, how China deals with various issues. And how China has been, careless about dealing with this virus, or maybe, as I said, that it could have been a deliberate design.
All right, Mohammad Ali Shah, where do you stand on this? A truth that the world has been, screaming at the top of its lungs, but that doesn't seem to be, resonating with anyone at this point in time. China still hasn't paid.
Absolutely. I totally agree with the viewpoints of Sanjeev Srivastav, and very credible, in fact. And Andrew Huff, he's a very, very famous and a very credible epidemiologist, in fact. So he's the former vice president of the Eco Health Alliance, which is a non-profit organization based in New York that studies infectious diseases. And he was there present in Wuhan. He knew exactly firsthand what was there on ground. And it's a truth which we have all speculated all along. But when he writes a book, The Truth About Wuhan, and he gives out, and he has also, in a way, pointed fingers at the US government also, that they are responsible of indirectly funding Wuhan virus and funding China for that. So this is something which is actually, till now, the speculation was only on China. Oh, China has leaked the virus, they are responsible, bad of them. Yes, but when he also says indirectly the US government is also responsible for it, that is actually quite a shocker, because China and US, this thing has been going on for quite some time. Chinese say the American military came for the military world games in Wuhan, they did it. The military, the US military says no, China is responsible. But ultimately, as Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava rightly says, it is a criminal act by China, because irrespective whether the virus was leaked from the lab through an accident or deliberately, we don't know as yet. I'll have to read this book fully to understand further on it. But the very fact, for 2 months, China had blocked their domestic flights, their domestic operations. Why is it that for Beijing, there was one could not go in and out, but the Chinese were all allowed to travel all over globally, internationally, knowing fully well that there is a very, very dangerous disease that they all are carrying. So they are very, very, so it was a grave danger for the entire world. So I would say China has done it deliberately. It's a biological warfare that they let out for the entire world and created havoc around the world. So now, of course, people tend to, whenever something bad happens, we all tend to look back and think, what happened? For example, I'll give you an example for everyone to connect with. When an accident occurs, so even after the accident, the shock, the aftermaths remain, and you try to visualize in your mind what happened. Oh, didn't I press the brakes on time? What happened exactly? The vehicle was coming from there. Similarly, people would want to analyze, because a lot of people have suffered. The entire world have suffered grave tragedies. So people would want to sit back and see how it happened.
Yeah, fortunate. Well, that's definitely a good point that you've made, and fortunately, COVID and its rampage has slowed down in the world, but it still continues on in China. It tells you a lot about the management that China has been able to undertake, especially when it comes to, firstly, the containment of the virus, and now, of course, the control of the virus.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.